Did you understand that I'm now starting, and if I do well, this is going to be mine for the rest of the season?
I did.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bird's Eye View. Today's guest has done something that has never been seen in the history of the WNBA, and I don't know if we're gonna see it again. Natasha Howard went to the finals 4 years in a row with 3 different teams. And she wasn't done, because you fast forward 2 more years and she got there 5 out of 6 seasons. There is something about Tosh in her game that just allows her to fit in with highly talented teams. It's what makes her special, and it's why she's a 3-time WNBA champion. It doesn't hurt that she's also a 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-Defensive Player, the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year, and the 2018 Most Improved Player. But before we get to that, here's Sue's view. First up, I'm gonna talk about the flow offense. You have heard me reference this when talking to Jewel and Stewie. It's the offense we ran in Seattle, but I gotta take it back a little bit and give you a little bit of an origin story. So Jenny Busek, who became our head coach in 2015 and introduced this offense to us in that year, she had worked with the Dallas Mavericks and with Rick Carlisle prior. Nothing official, but she knew Rick for many years, and she would go to their training camps. You know, it's back in the days of Dirk Nowitzki, and she would really study. She would really study their offense. And a lot of times in that 2015 and then even in the 2016 training camp, she would show us clips from the Dallas Mavericks, because this is how they played. Now, the flow offense, if I had to loosely define it, it has to do with read and react. You've heard me say it has to do with a controlled chaos. A lot of traditional offenses, you know, there's transition where you're able to get out and run, and then there's play calling, right? You're calling sets, you're trying to get a certain look. There might be one option, maybe a second or a third, and that's about it. But the flow offense, it's very free in that we're trying to get option 1, 2, or 3, but we understand we might not get those, and we might be going to option 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's the beauty of it. It was a limitless option type offense. I digress. So Jenny comes to Seattle, teaches us this offense in 2015. We run it in 2016 and 17. And even though she left the Storm, we continued to run it. And that's where myself, Jewel, Stewie, Alicia Clark, add in Natasha Howard, we really started to perfect this offense. Now, what's interesting is the other part of this flow offense that makes it different, makes it exceptional, makes it hard to scout, hard to play against, is that you're playing with pace. Now, when I say pace, I actually don't mean the statistical category that you might find in an advanced box sheet, right? I'm literally talking about how fast you play, how fast you push the ball, how fast you cut, how fast you're able to read, react, and make decisions. So it's like a physical speed, but it's also a mental speed that you're playing with. The thing about flow, though, is because you're playing with that pace, it really has to become a lifestyle. You have to live it. You have to practice it every day. You have to do drills that are going to encourage this, that are going to back it up. We used to have this one drill where, you know, a certain time would go on the clock, let's call it anywhere from 12 to 14 seconds. You had to go full court. Everybody had to touch the ball. You also had to get certain actions, right? Is it a pick and roll? Is it a back door? Is it a post up? Is it a flare screen? The coach would yell out certain actions, and you had to get this all done within 12 to 14 seconds. So it was all about, again, making quick decisions and playing fast. The other part of it is you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because the truth is you are going to come down the floor. And, you know, you have a player like Breanna Stewart. Of course, you're trying to get her the ball in certain spots, but teams guard that. Teams scout that. So you have to be willing to stay open-minded to the fact that anything could happen. And that's where a lot of the confidence comes from, right? We play fast. We wear teams down. By the fourth quarter, you can hear them huffing and puffing. But when you actually, you know, find the weak link in the defense, when you're able to exploit certain things and you have that open mind, it just gives you more and more confidence. So what makes flow offense difficult to run? You really need high IQ players. What makes flow offense difficult to guard? It's unpredictable and it's exhausting. And like I said, by far my favorite offense to play in. Next up, I'm going to do a little preview of the Commissioner Cup final. That is coming up on Tuesday, July 1st. Just a quick refresh. The winning team gets to split a $500,000 pot amongst its players. The runner-up or the losing team, they get $10,000 per player each. I also think there's like some crypto in there, but who knows what the hell that is. All right, so it's Indiana versus Minnesota in the final. And I think what's most interesting about this matchup is that they haven't played each other yet this season. So it's totally fresh. You don't really know what you're gonna see. So I'm gonna check out the stats and see if I can maybe pull some things. It's interesting because they're kind of sort of similar in some ways, right? Like offensive rating, Minnesota's third, Indiana's fourth. Defensive rating, there's a little bit of separation. Minnesota's first, Indiana's fifth. But there's a lot of other similarities. And so I'm just going to go based off some stuff where there's a lot of separation, right? So first and foremost, can Indiana, who is 11th in opponents' free throw attempts, stop fouling Minnesota? Because you cannot give Minnesota easy points. So you got to keep them off the free throw line. Also, can Indiana, who's in the bottom half of the league in turnovers, limit them against a defense that is third in forcing turnovers? So those are just like two quick areas that you can keep your eye on. I think for Indiana's offense, and of course, we don't know if Caitlin's going to be playing. So this is a huge asterisk. It changes everything. But they've added Aari McDonald, and you know, I got to watch Caitlin play in person against Seattle. And one thing I noticed was it'd be really beneficial to her if she had players around her who could create shots for her, right? She has to create a lot of her own shots, but she's also creating for her teammates. And there are times where if she could just get some open looks off other people's play, it could be really beneficial to her. And that's where Aari McDonald might have some impact. I think the only issue here would be is you'd have to find ways to figure out like how to have them on the court defensively that doesn't give up too many mismatches. But the good news is when Aari was with the team previously, a lineup of her, Natasha Howard, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, and Aaliyah Boston had a net rating of 53.1. Very small sample size, but just saying. The other thing to note about Indiana is recently their small lineup of Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull, Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston is at a 41.7. These numbers are just like really high. They can spread the floor. Aaliyah Boston can go to work. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see those two lineups. I think for Minnesota on the other side, you know, if Caitlin plays, it's just going to be a matter of how do you want to attack this, right? Do you want to focus on her and put all the focus on her, forcing her teammates to get off? We saw that in Seattle. It didn't work out. Indiana still got the win. Or do you want to just try to limit Caitlin, make it hard, but not give too much up to her teammates? I think anytime you're playing Indiana, that's probably the question. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Minnesota heading into the Commissioner's Cup will be thinking about. Again, if Caitlin doesn't play, this all goes out the window. Next up, I'm going to check back in on Phoenix. Talked about Phoenix in some of my earlier episodes and how what's so interesting is I think a lot of people view their offense and, you know, the system that Nate Tibbetts has put in and kind of, you know, falling in love with that, which is very true. Their offense is doing really well, but it's still their defense that continues to be a driving force. They are top 3 in defensive rating. They're first in creating turnovers. They're top 3 in points off turnovers. They're second in opponents' points in the paint. And they have a killer lineup of AT, Catherine Westbeld, Satu, Akon Makani, and then you plug in either Sammy or Ka, and it's elite. And that is actually the perfect segue to those two players. Kalia Copper, just getting back into the swing of things. So I imagine their defense will get even better and their offense will get even better. But in the meantime, Sammy has had incredible impact. That is Sammy Whitcomb, for those that don't know. She's only shooting 32.5% from 3 on like 5.5 attempts this year. But the last 4 games, she's shooting 48.1% on 9 attempts. She's leading them in scoring at 17 points per game and is actually the best rebounding guard at 3.7 per game. Again, last 7 games, she's shooting 42% in total on 6.3 attempts. So just want to give some quick love to Sammy. You know what it is. All right, last but not least, before we get to this interview, I just want to talk a little bit about the physicality of the league. There's so much conversation about it. Is it too physical? Is it not? All these things. And I think there's been this like narrative that's gone around that we, and I'm going to include myself here, we as WNBA players talk about the physicality in our league with like a badge of honor, right? And I don't think that's the case at all. I personally don't feel that way. But when challenged about the physicality of the league and the historical physicality of the league, yes, we say, yes, this is a physical league. Like, yeah, it's a grown woman's league. Like, yeah, you got to be ready for it. And the only reason why I want to bring that up is because while it's true that we have defended the physicality, it's not true that it's because we want it to be that way or like it that way. I think for a really long time, it's something we've talked about. But when the refs do ref the game and allow physicality, we're kind of just playing in it. And of course, what refs allow, you're going to take. And that's really what you're seeing in our game. I would argue that most players don't want it to be this physical. I was the first one with my hand up when I was playing. Do you think I wanted it to be physical? Then you've never seen me play. No, I did not want it to be physical. And in fact, one of my wishes that never came true, I said this to multiple owners, I said this in competition meetings, I never understood why in a 40-minute basketball game, we got 6 personal fouls. And a lot of times I was met with, well, we don't want our star players fouling out. And just to give a little bit of context, the 6 fouls is definitely like not a hangover, but we got it from the NBA game, right? But they play 48 minutes, so it makes sense. We play with 5 fouls overseas. We play with 5 fouls in college. We play with 5 fouls in national team play with USA Basketball. So this isn't 5 fouls in 40 minutes. This isn't something new. And like I said, I was always met with, well, we don't want our star players fouling out. But by my math, by giving every player on a roster that 1 extra personal foul, you're allowing your best player to get fouled technically 11 more times a game than needed. That's just my take. 3 final things before we get to the interview. First, Bird's Eye View is doing its first live show in Indiana, July 18th. Second, we are taking next week off. Next Friday is the 4th, so we won't be releasing an episode. Our next episode will come out July 11th. And finally, if you're a fan of the show, fill out our audience survey at voxmedia.com/survey to help make the show even better. My interview with Natasha Howard up next. Tosh, what's up, man?
Not much. What's up with you?
I'm good. Did you watch Game 7 last night? What do you think? I mean, it's obviously sad they lost, but...
Yeah. They started off, 10-15, and, they had injuries, but nobody expect them to be in the NBA Finals.
Yeah. So when I watch them, what I always find most interesting is Jenny Busek is an assistant coach. She was with the Storm for ever, but she was the head coach for a while. And, by the time you got there, she was no longer there, but her offense had kind of carried over and stayed. And we ended up running a lot of her sets. I've now had Jewel and Stewie both on the show. We talked about running flow, playing in our flow.
Yeah.
So anytime I watch the Pacers, that jumps out also. Did you like playing in that flow style offense? For those that don't know, it's just you literally just play. It's like controlled chaos.
Absolutely, I did. Just read and react off your teammates and do what you do best and stuff. For me, I was good at cutting and getting offensive rebounds and stuff, put them back in there, and also setting good screens for you guys to get open shots.
Yeah, you did do that. But yeah, so the Pacers in the finals, obviously so sad with Tyrese getting hurt, but they had a great run. If anyone knows something about the finals, it's you. I mean, obviously I know all about your career, played with you, but as I was looking back at some of the research, you're like Miss Finals expert. Do you know this about yourself? You went to 4 finals in a row with 3 different teams. Not only were you in the finals 4 years in a row, 3 different teams, you went 5 times out of 6 seasons. So take out your rookie year from your second year on, 5 times in 6 seasons. Did you even know that?
Nah, I didn't know that. A lot of people were telling me that. I'm like, really? I'm like, wow.
You were like Miss Good Luck Charm there for a minute. Okay, so coming out of Florida State, how prepared for the WNBA did you feel?
I felt very prepared because we had Brooke Wyckoff as my assistant coach. And, she played in WNBA. She played for Chicago. So she was telling me the ins and out about WNBA. So we were doing a lot of things that was helping me get prepared for training camp. And she was telling me the lead is different. The lead is different. It's people faster, stronger, taller. So you need to start doing a lot of extra lifting and stuff. Because I only weighed 150 when I was in college.
You were this big.
But I'm like, all right. So I started doing a lot of conditioning, a lot of lifting, and also eating more because me eating it didn't go nowhere. So I just kept stuffing my face to make sure I gained at least a couple more pounds before I got into the league. So, but I couldn't even gain no type of weight.
Okay, I just want to rewind for a second. You weighed 150?
150.
Ask me how much I weighed coming out of college. 150. I dropped a couple lbs. It was all muscle. I had to shed some of that, but you weighed 150? That's literally, I fluctuated between 145 and 150 my whole career.
Yeah. Me, I just stayed at
Dang.
150 until I got into the league. That's when I actually started gaining weight. So
wait, so you get drafted 2014, number 5 overall. You go to Indiana. How, like being 150, what was the impact of that? Did you feel it right away in training camp?
I did. After practice, I did.
Yeah.
But after that, I was still getting into the weight room. I'm like, no, I'm not about to be banged up and sore and stuff like that. And even the coach was telling me I need to put on some more weight. And that was my main focus my rookie year, just putting on weight and also just being prepared if I have to go into a game and play against Sylvia Fowles, Brunson, them like that. So I have to make sure I had a little bit muscles on me. So,
but I feel like part of your build also helps you, right? Like you're agile, you're quick. So like, were you able to use that? Could you find ways to use that in the early goings?
Absolutely, I did. I used my quickness, my versatility, the way how I play, and also, guarding bigger post players than me, I use my quickness and just pretty much dancing around them and making sure they don't feel me. So that was like my specialty right there.
Yeah, no, I'm laughing because I have like actual memories of you playing BG like that. Just literally like on this. I feel like basketball talk, what do they teach you when you're a kid? It's like, you got to like guard the tree or like move around the tree, like BG being the tree. And like there was you were on this side, the left side, the right side of the tree, you're all over that tree. Right. I have legit memories of that. Your first couple games, you actually came out, like hit the ground running. You had like 20 something in your first game, followed that up with like 16 or so. You finished the season averaging 7-3. You even started 15 games that year. So on paper, it seems like you adjusted quickly. We've talked a little bit about what training camp was like, but in that first year, do you feel like you found your footing as you went?
I did. It took me a couple weeks to get my foot stable in this lead. But overall, like just having Tamika being there, to being that vet for me and having me under her wing and just guiding me through the season, like I probably wouldn't be able to survive in this league without her and her guiding me.
Okay. What do you, what did you learn from her? What was she helping you with?
She was always telling me just be patient.
Okay.
Patient is the key because, I started, 15 games. And afterwards, as a rookie, it's, when it's getting close to playoff time, that's when your minutes start shrinking. So she was just telling me to stay patient, your time going to come. And ever since then, like that just stuck with me through my whole career. And look what happened. I'm starting now. I'm, a whole bunch of stuff that's been happening to me.
We talked about some of the things that you were doing well in that rookie year. What do you think was the hardest part just on the basketball floor?
I feel like defense, learning like the terms of
Miss Defensive Player of the Year. It was defense.
Yeah, it was defense.
Oh, like learning terms,
learning the terms
and
stuff like that, the schemes and stuff, because it's different from college. Then,
oh yeah.
So it was just everything was just so quick. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like my head was just spinning on the floor. So I'm just like saying anything, and then my teammates just react. So I was just saying anything out there, so I won't get in trouble and they won't yell at me.
Is that a hack? Just talk a lot, and the coaches won't yell at you.
Just talk a lot.
Honestly, it does work. I'm not even gonna lie. That's really interesting, though. That defense was something that there was like a little bit, I don't know, like an evolution. You had to grow into that because, like you said, college. I don't think they do as much. As much like scouting and scheme. Obviously they scout, but the schemes get really intricate when you get into the WNBA. What do you think was was it like pick and roll defense, or was it having to guard those post players?
I pretty much say everything. Okay. Like the pick and rolls, the eyes, and like the post. But like I feel like the post was a lot because they had great post players in the league at the time when I came in. So it's like you had a handful. Like in the post, you had a handful. I had a handful every night. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So when you get to Indiana, not only are you teaming up with Tamika Catchings, but you're being coached by Lynn Dunn, who is now still in the front office for the Indiana Fever. And Stephanie White was an assistant, who obviously is now the head coach. So what was like your first impressions of them as coaches?
Lynn, I already knew that she was going to be tough. Yeah. Like, because I heard it from...
Wait, do you know she was my coach my rookie year? She drafted me. That was my coach my first year too.
Oh, wow. In Seattle?
In Seattle.
Wow, I didn't see no picture, no videos of her
I'll
either.
send them to you.
But yeah, like it was just what Lynn done. Like she was always on us, like because she knew what we were capable of doing as players. So she was, especially with me, like she didn't give me no grace or nothing. She was just on me. Howard, what are you doing? I'm like, okay. I'm
You
like,
got to get the accent in there too.
But like she was just on me because she knew that the player that I can become in the league. So she was just on me nonstop. I ain't getting no breaks, no nothing. So she was just on me. I'm like, and like now I thank her because I'm a 3-time champ, you know, so on and so on. So
that's funny. What I remember from Lynn is very similar. Just like really had a standard of how she wanted individuals to play, the team to play, how hard. Our practices were hard. There was fights all the time in practice just because people were going at each other like a box out drill. Right. You know how those are going to go. And the other thing I remember about Lynn was, you know, someone make a nice move but miss it. And she'd be like, that's $1 million move in a 10-cent finish. Yeah. You know, she probably still says it. Okay, so you finish your second year in Indiana. That offseason comes. You get traded for the first time in your career. You end up getting traded 4 times in your career. This is the first time. And you're traded to the Minnesota Lynx. Did you have any idea that was coming?
Yeah, I did.
You had an idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like your agent telling you?
Yeah, my agent was telling me though, but I ain't know who gonna get traded to Minnesota.
Yeah. Were you like, I'm always curious about this. Like, were you excited? Did you feel hurt? Were you happy? Were you happy that it was Minnesota? Like, what was the feeling the minute you get the call, like it's done?
You know, it was only my second year in the league. I'm like, traded. I was like, you know, I'm like, Dan, I really wanted to play forever in Indiana though, but like, you know, it's business. But I feel like it was a better opportunity for me. And I feel like God was leading me to a different path in my career. So, and I took it, and I was just like, wow, I'm playing with some other great players too. I'm like, yeah, I'm like Minnesota though, like Maya Moore. I played against Maya Moore in college. She crossed me up. So I'm like, wow, I'm playing with her. I'm playing with Lindsay Whalen. I'm playing with Sylvia Fowles. I'm playing with a lot of great players that I could actually get more experience from and pick their brains and they could help me out with some more moves in my bag for me and stuff. So I was like, wow, I'm playing with some great vets for real. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, no, you're surrounded. You are surrounded by greatness. I mean, you mentioned Sylvia Fowles, then you've got Rebekkah Brunson, J-Mac.
Yeah.
Janelle McCarville's on that team. So you're surrounded by greatness, by experience, by those that have won championships. So what do you think you learned, like from a post player standpoint, from those guys?
With Brunson, she always tell me like, get every rebound that you possibly can and just play defense, like make people uncomfortable, get in there.
You know what?
Yeah, you know what?
You can say it,
but like that's the thing that actually stuck with me, like, cause she just told me like the only way you're gonna see in this league if you play defense and rebound. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm about to rebound my butt off, and ain't nobody about to get nothing from me. So, but yeah, with her just being there, being that vet for me, just because she was really good on defense, and like that's one thing I like about Brunson, that she was just and people stuff like, nah, you ain't about to get this from me, and like the way she was just like bullying them out there and making them uncomfortable. I'm like, wow, like she used to do that to me in practice. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do them to them out there on the court too as well. So
that's so dope. But then you also get to play with, you already said it, right? You're playing with Maya, you're playing with Moan, you're playing with Lindsay. My opinion, it's that backcourt and then maybe the Vegas backcourt of Plum, Chelsea, Jackie Young. Like these are two of the best, most successful backcourts of all time. So now you're playing with these guards. Yeah. So what was that like?
It's kind of hard to explain because like Lindsay, she was a savage out there. Like she didn't take nothing from nobody. Yeah, like at all. And like you get in her race, she see red. And with Simone, like she's so smooth, her crossover is so smooth. You think she about to make a move and she pulling up on your face, right? Like in Maya, like it's just she could do everything. So it's like kind of hard to play Minnesota. Like you gotta play them straight up because if you try to do anything, somebody's open or whatever. So it's just kind of hard to play against a team that have every single weapon. Yeah, so, literally, including yourself. Yeah, you were a key contributor in that. What was it like playing for Cheryl Reeve? Because we just talked about Lynn demanding greatness. I mean,
I actually have only played for Cheryl with USA Basketball. And she was always an assistant. She had to do head coach, take on some head coaching duties when Dawn couldn't make it because of her college schedule. But I've more so just been an outsider looking in, and it just seems like one mistake and she's going to let you know. And there is like very much a demanding style of coaching there. So I'm curious what that was like.
Absolutely. You make one mistake, she's on you.
Yeah.
And she's going to make sure that you're not going to make that mistake again. And that's one thing that she was just like, just not me, but like everybody on the team. She hold everybody accountable. If you make a mistake, she's going to let you know. And like the player's going to let you know as well too. But with Cheryl, she don't play. She do not play. If you're not getting the job done, she's going to pull you out the game and let you sit there and let you think about what you done wrong, and then she gonna be like, "Are you ready to go back in?" And you be like, "Yeah." So she gonna let you sit down.
You're gonna get another chance.
Think about it, but yeah, she gonna give you another chance though.
No, yeah, like I said, outside looking in, what I always respected about the Minnesota Lynx was the bar they all held each other to, but also the fact that Cheryl could do that to great players. Because let's be honest, not a lot of coaches have that about them, where they can hold it. But it sounds like it became almost contagious with all of you. You all had standards that you're holding each other to. So it's nice to know that from the outside looking in, it was accurate. But like I said, you were a key contributor off the bench, and you get to the finals again. So now it's second year in a row. You're back in the finals. So what I'm curious about is, how did the 2015 finals experience help you approach what is now the 2016 finals experience, Minnesota versus LA, the start of like an epic rivalry?
I always come back in my head, just be patient. They just kept coming back in my head, be patient. Mm-hmm. And then when my number, like I said, when my number was called, I knew I had to guard Candace Parker.
Yeah.
And like with her and her skill level, I was like, damn, I gotta guard Candace Parker. Like, she got good ball handling skill, but my thing is like, okay, she have it though, but she can't take pressure. So when Brunson was always telling me in practice, like, get into people, and that's what I did with Candace. I'm gonna do what I need to do. I don't care if I want to score on the offensive end. I'm gonna play some good defense and not let Candace Parker score on me. And that's what I done in 2016?
Yeah, we're in 2016
Yeah,
now.
2016.
I can't give him straight either.
So 2016, like I made sure that I made it uncomfortable for Candace, in that series, and making sure that she threw it to somebody else that we know that's not going to score the ball. So, and that was my main thing when I went out there, just making sure that I had done my part to help us win that. Help us win.
You didn't win that series.
Well, we didn't win the series though, but like just help us win at least one of the games.
That possession, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So you bring it up. So sadly, you lose again in a 5-game series. So 2 finals, no ring. But then 2017 comes around. You finally get that ring. So you play LA again. Like I said, one of the more epic playoff rivalries in the WNBA and WNBA history. And you finally get the ring. So how did it feel to get over the hump?
It felt good to get over that hump because at the end of the day, like we had a chip on our shoulder from 2016's finals, and like we carried it over into the off season as well until training camp, and like everybody was hungry, everybody was determined to actually work extremely hard to get back to that point, and we got back to that point, and we showed LA no mercy.
Okay, so you've got your ring, but in that off season, and now for the second time in what is like a short career at this point, right? You're only in your 4th year. You get traded again. This time to Seattle. So real quick, what do you remember about that trade experience?
I was happy.
Okay.
I was happy to be somewhere different, and also playing with you. Because they were like, Sue Bird is a good point guard. She this and that. I'm like, well, I get to play with her, so
I'll let you know.
I'll let you guys know. But yeah, I was happy to actually come to Seattle, play with Stewie, play with you, play with Jewel. It was a young team still too. So, but I was just really happy to have a fresh start and hopefully do what I need to do and try to get a starting spot too as well. So that was like my main thing too, is just.
Oh, we're going to get into that. Because you didn't start the first couple games.
I didn't.
Yeah. You came into, I think you said it well. At that point, we were, outside of myself, like still a really young team, you know, built around Jewel and Stewie.
Right.
We have a new coach in Dan Hughes coming in. So it is like very fresh for all of us.
Yeah.
And you were coming into that with, I think, a lot of opportunity ahead of you. But it's funny because so you get traded. And so here's my perspective of you at the time. A couple of things. One, obviously playing against you in Indiana, in Minnesota. I was like, man, there's something about her. She's just always in the right place at the right time. It was like, you know, in Minnesota, let's say you averaged, you know, somewhere between 10, 15 minutes, you know, so it wasn't like you're playing a ton of minutes when, you know, you're having to go against, you know, 4 or 5 Olympians, and then they come off the court and Natasha Howard comes in and it's like, man, and now she's getting all the rebounds. Like you could never take a breath because you were always coming in the game and you were always getting, I'm telling you, every loose ball, every rebound, just felt like you were always in the right place at the right time. But then in 2016, we take a break for the Olympics and, you know, 2016 Rio Olympics, I would argue this is one of, if not one of the best Olympic teams in our history. We are stacked, but not only that, majority of the teams in their prime. So you have like some of the best ever, Maya, Diana. I mean, go down the list, and they're in their prime. We play against, I don't even know what they called you guys, the USA WNBA select team. It's like an exhibition game. Yep, the select team. It's an exhibition game. So you guys are helping us out. You're getting us ready to go to Rio. We're in LA.
Right.
We're about to leave for the Olympics after this. And I'm like, who the fuck is this? You had 24 points, 8 from 13, but like a lot of threes. Do you know how, I couldn't find the actual box score. It had to have been like 4 threes.
I don't know how many threes I made.
You had a lot of threes. I was like, so what I knew about you from playing against you in Minnesota was you're a glue player. You still are. You're a glue player. You take teams that are great and you like glue them together with all the like ways that you fit in. But now I'm like, oh my God, she has this whole other layer to her game that we just haven't seen. So as I was saying, this is my take on you, right? I've seen you with the Minnesota Lynx. Now I'm seeing this whole other person who we played against in this exhibition game. Then you get traded to Seattle. And I'm like, okay, here's a player that is a magnet for the ball. And by the way, I'm curious, what is that? By magnet, it's like, I'm not joking. The ball seems to find you. It's like, yes, you go get it. And sometimes I swear the ball finds you. I remember we played Phoenix, game 1 of the 2018 season. And at some point during the game, you'd come in the game, you got like a bunch of like rebounds, loose balls. There's a foul, so we're chilling, like someone shooting free throws. I'm standing next to D, and she's like, man, is she like that all the time? And I'm like, yes. It's like there's a magnet in her hands. Is that a skill? Have you just always been that way?
I won't say I've always been that way. I just feel like which way the person is shooting the ball and how it's going to ricochet off the rim. So I just
you're watching that?
I watch that and see, because the person shooting the ball in the corner, mainly the ball is going to probably ricochet into the middle. Mm-hmm. And if the person shooting the ball to the left side, it's going to go probably like far to the other side. Mm-hmm. So that's just how I
So you're like reading these rebounds.
Yeah, I just read them.
Man, I swear, it like falls in your lap. It's crazy. The other thing that really stuck out right away was because, as I mentioned, or as we talked about, we did play this like flow offense. Mm-hmm. We were really like transition first team. So right away, you at like the 4-5, you had to play the 5 a lot.
Yeah.
Damn, you had to play the 5 a lot. I mean, shout out to you. You had to guard all the 5s because Stewie's ass didn't want to do it.
She didn't want to do it at all.
She didn't want to do it. So we had to save Stewie, but that means you had to guard the 5. So thank you for that. But yeah, with your speed and your quickness at your position, for me as a point guard, it was like a match made in heaven. The way you could run the floor, keep up with me, the way you could drag, and then the way on your rolls, it was like you could pop, hit the 3, you could roll, finish layups, and you had like a versatility and an agility about you that allowed you to be creative, right? Like when you did roll, if a defender came over, you had moves, you had a little back to the basket, shimmy shake. But you didn't start early in the season. You didn't start. And then do you remember what happened?
I think Langhorn got...
Yeah, she broke her rib. Shout out Crystal Langhorn.
Right.
That poor baby broke her rib. It was not good. She had to wear like a protective like hard shell thing. Yeah, the pad. But it opened up the opportunity for you. Did you realize what was there? Like, did you understand that I'm now starting, and if I do well, this is going to be mine for the rest of the season?
I did.
How did you approach that?
I approached it as one player down, it's time for you to step up. And that's what I did. I took full advantage of it. And I took it and I ran with it and never looked back.
No, you didn't. And in a lot of ways, our offense got unlocked because of what you brought to the table. And the starting five that we had, myself, you, Stewie, Joel, and AC, we're now, I would say, one of the fastest paced offenses the WNBA has seen.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden we're like, oh, because not a lot of people picked us to do well that year. I don't know. I'd have to go in the archives, but I think we got picked like to finish like 6th or 7th. We ended up finishing first, but obviously we win, but not a lot of people saw it. And then it wasn't until you came in there where it was like, oh, this is what it can be. And then putting Lang on the bench, because it's no shade to Lang, that actually increased her output as well. So now we're clicking all over the place. And what I've always found fascinating about you was you weren't really the type of player that you had to run a lot of plays for. Like, you got yours. You just found ways to like fit in. And I'm just, we've talked a little bit about your rebounding and what you're thinking about. We're going to get into defense a little bit later. When you're on offense, like, what are you thinking about? How are you approaching the game offensively?
What I'm thinking about is playing free, but at the same time, still reading, react what my teammates are doing, and trying to get them open as well with my screening and pretty much just saying good screens. And because if I set a good screen, they're going to be open or I'm going to be open. Or
why do you think you always fit in so well with championship level teams? Indiana, Minnesota, Seattle. Had a little rough go with New York and Dallas, but now Indiana, I know you guys are trying to win a championship. What is it about you in your game?
I don't really need plays ran for me. That's the thing. That makes it easy for the teams that I play with. And I do the dirty work, so that makes other teams successful. I think.
No, I agree. I think you have an elite skill getting in where you fit in. And with other great players, that's all they need to bring out the best in them. And then because you're elite at it, it brings out the best in you. Yeah. It's really a unique skill. 2018 ended up being like a pivotal year for you. You averaged double figures for the first time. You're all defensive first team, second in the league in blocks, most improved player, should have been an all-star. I still demand like a recount on that. Game 3 of the WNBA finals, which is now, if we're all doing the math, your 4th finals in a row. Yeah. So 4 finals, 3 different teams, crazy. But in game 3, which ended up being like the closeout game of a 5-game series, you dropped 29 and 14. And I actually, when Stu was on the show, in DC, the night of the goggles, you dropped 29 and 14. And I actually talked to Stewie about this. I knew from like the first possession or whatever possession you hit your first 3, I was like, oh, it's on. I was like, especially you and Stewie, you were both hitting.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's on. So you helped take the Storm to a championship. You're now a 2-time champion. We never get to run it back in 2019. Stewie and I get hurt. No. We're not playing. But you continue this like evolution. You continue to flourish. And now 2019 is another big year for you. And you're really the focal point of the Storm this year. You take it to another level. You've got career highs in points and rebounds that year. You're WNBA All-First Team. You're the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year. And it's such a wonderful part of your story because you showed signs of all of this, but now you're like solidifying it. Now everybody's seeing it. And I want to know how you were feeling in that year.
2019 season? I was like, dang, Suber down, Stewie down. I'm like,
it's go time.
It's go time. It is. But I also had, AC on the side with me, Jewel on the side with me though. But I feel like I had bigger shoes to fill because of Stewie, because we was missing points from her and also missing points from you though. But I'm like, dang, like I guess it's time for me to show what I'm capable of doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. And I did everything that I had to do for our team
Mm-hmm.
to at least have a good season. I feel like we had a good season, even
No,
though
great season. Yeah,
you
made
guys
the
was out, but
playoffs.
we
Yeah.
made the playoff. But I didn't like that one and done thing. I didn't like that at all.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad they got rid of it too.
But yeah, I feel like I had a lot to prove and show everybody what I'm capable of doing.
So I want to stick with like the defensive side of it. So you're defensive player of the year that year. We talked about early in your career how you had to learn a lot, right? About the schemes, icing, like, all the lingo. So now a couple of years later, you're defensive player of the year. For you, what makes you the defender you are?
I just don't take it lightly on my opponents. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Defense just fuels me. It drives me. Like it makes me I don't know. I feel like I see red when I'm on defense. Like
Yeah.
I just see red. Like you is not about to get nothing over here. And so and like defense been my thing in college too. So like I'm like, let me just do what I do best and let me just take it to another level that year. And that's what that's what I did. I feel like I had to take another level to establish, to let people know like you can't bully me on defense. Like I'm not that type of player. So you got the wrong one.
Yeah. The other thing you do for teams, like so that's like more of an individual, like from a team standpoint, you allow teams to be really creative in the schemes. Because again, you're just at your position, you move so well. So I know a lot of our time together in Seattle, what we were doing, we were all over the place trapping.
Right.
We were able to switch a lot, but not only just the switching, like, because like let's say it's me and Stewie in a pick and roll and we switch, and now I'm on the big, you bumping me out immediately,
Sure
like
is.
you're all over the place. So you really allow teams to do a lot from a scheme standpoint. And when you think about just like actually your overall career, even beyond Seattle, right? How do you think that's changed in the WNBA? Has it gotten more intricate?
I'll say yeah. Like it's you got to pick your poison like now because there's a lot of young players coming in that's quicker. So me like now I gotta just like I'm still quick though, but I still have to pick my poison when it comes to like certain players on who I'm guarding because they might have a little step on me since I'm getting older, but that still don't matter. But still, like I gotta make sure that okay, this player right here is quick. If you get up on them, they quick. So me, I just use my length, disrupt what they want to do and stuff like that. So me, I just read the player and also like this player right here is quick or whatever. So this is what I need to do right here and I just read on how I feel and like with this and the personnel as well.
Right. Yeah. It sounds like you have to like not just play defense physically, you have to play it mentally too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hard. So in Seattle, we win again in 2020. We finished the bubble season. That off season comes. And for the third time in your career, you're traded. Seattle cored you. And I know you wanted to go to New York, but what was that off season and that trade experience like?
I feel like it was just time for me to spread my wings, have my own identity. So that's the reason why I chose to go to New York, just to spread my wings and have my own identity.
Yeah, you also got paid. You got paid a lot.
Yeah,
I can't fault you for that. What was it about the New York Liberty that you thought you would fit? Like you thought it'd be a good fit?
Because the only person they had on the team was Sabrina, so and they would still add more pieces. But I just feel like my defense, I'm just gonna keep harping on my defense because New York wasn't really that good when it comes to defense and stuff. So I feel like I could bring that into the organization to help them out, and me also just running the floor and just do the things that I'm good at. So, but yeah, and also help Sabrina. Yeah, she needed the help out there, so I just went out there to help her out as well, and to actually like help her game grow as well as a point guard.
Yeah. So what was it like playing with Sabrina, and then even now when you watch her, like what growth have you seen in her?
Just her just learning the game more because she sat out her rookie year. She got injured her rookie year, so just her just learning the game, and I could tell by the things that she was doing after practice and stuff, just getting that extra work in and just reading the pocket and stuff like that. Because no shade Sabrina, but she didn't really know how to read the pockets and stuff like that. But that when the season went on, that's when she started getting good at it, because me and her pick and roll was really good. I don't know what the percentage was, but just me and her pick and roll was just through the roof. So
yeah, the only bummer about your first year was that you sprained your MCL like early in the season. So that, you know, you go from all these championship teams, like I've said 1,000 times, finals, back to back to back to back. But now you're going to a team that you're helping build. And I think that injury really, really set you back and set the franchise back. But did you have any, when we think about the New York Liberty now and the culture that they've built, right, the fan base that they've built, did you see any of that? Like, was that coming to life when you were there?
it was.
It was.
It it was slow. It was slowly coming. But we were struggling the first year when I got there though. But like it was like, but you can tell like the fans was just dedicated. They came no matter if we were losing or winning. So like that right there, I seen it coming day by day. Even though I was sitting on the sideline, I seen it coming.
Yeah, that's dope. Because something that drives me nuts, real quick, sidebar, in 2021, COVID was like still happening. Yeah. So I don't know if you remember this, but like I would say for the first 3-4 months of the season, and then in some cities, almost the whole season, you could only have like 10 to 20% capacity in the buildings. It drives me nuts because to this day, people will be like, look how amazing the New York Liberty are doing. And they'll show like a side-by-side of the crowd in 2021, because that's really when the size like bought the team and kind of they're back in Brooklyn now after being in Westchester, all that. And then they're like, and look at it now. And I'm like, is no one going to say this was the COVID year? Is no one going to point that out? Anyways, that's just really needed to say that. So you're only in New York a couple years. And then again, you get traded. But this one, it felt from the outside, like this one came out of nowhere a little bit.
It did.
Yeah. So you get traded to Dallas. Did you see it coming? And then how did that feel?
No, I didn't see it coming.
Okay.
At all. I didn't see it coming. I actually found out on social media.
Social media?
And I was in Tallahassee at the time. So I seen it on social media.
What was that like?
What? I called my agent. So I'm like, well, what is going on right now? Mm-hmm. And my agent was mad. He was like, hold on, da-da-da. So I was like, here we go. Again. What other trade? Mm-hmm. But like now I know like the reason why I did get traded. So now I understand why I got traded.
Okay. What do you like? Why did you get traded?
Because they needed more space for getting other players in, and my salary was a lot. So
yeah. So that you're like, okay, I get it.
I get it now, but before no.
Okay,
I was mad.
Finding on social media, I think is just, it's really one of the downsides of just kind of like how the business of sports goes right now, that players have to have that happen. So I'm sorry that happened to you. But you're in Dallas now, and I think sadly again, like we're now, going to experience the next 2 years in your time in Dallas, just a lot of injuries. Last year, which was your second year in Dallas, you break your foot. Satu's got issues with her shoulder. Maddie Seacrest breaks her finger. So I feel like those Dallas Wings teams had so much potential, and you guys never had a chance to like see it through.
Like I feel like people seen a glimpse of it my first year there.
Yeah.
And, second year injuries and stuff. And I feel like we didn't have the injuries. I feel like they probably would have seen what they seen last season when I was there in 2023. They would have seen more. And coming into 2024, I feel like we'd have probably been a contender for a championship that year.
You definitely wouldn't have been in the lottery.
Yeah.
Like you guys definitely would have made the playoffs. So like I said, I feel like it's got to be sad. And then when the season ends, anybody who's on social media about 5 minutes later, literally 0.2 seconds later, you're on there talking about, thanks, Dallas, I'm out of here. No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. It was a little like that.
A lot of people were like, you posted it as soon as you. I'm like, no, I did not post it as soon as I was off the plane.
Right after your exit interview or what?
It was way before that. I'm like, no, I thought about it.
You posted that before your exit interview? Mm-hmm. Oh my God. What was your exit interview like? Did you even have one?
I had one.
Okay.
I had one.
Was it just a lot of thank yous?
It was a lot of thank you for like the things that you've done for the past two seasons with us and stuff. Like,
okay, so it was cool.
Yeah,
that was cool. How and why did you know so fast? Like, I want something different.
I feel like I needed something different. like Dallas was fun and all. Like, I love the player that I played with and stuff. But I just feel like I think I just needed something new and just on top of that, just back to just having fun again. So and I felt like I have fun, but I feel like it was like forced. So, but
okay, no, I could imagine that in the course of 4 years, you're on 2 teams, you go to Dallas in a trade you weren't expecting. It doesn't feel like a lot of choice. Yeah. And now you're a free agent. You've already been cored, so that's done. And now you have choice again. So I feel like I totally get the empowerment. The question is, was it just always Indiana or was anybody else in the mix?
There was other teams in the mix.
Okay.
It just wasn't Indiana.
Okay. So what made you choose Indiana?
I feel like I had unfinished business in that 2015 season. So I'm like, man, it's
a little circle moment.
Yeah, a little circle moment, and it just feels, and it also feels good to be back to where I started, and it was kind of hard for my family to come see me all the way in Dallas as well. So I was just happy to be back, so they could actually come support me, and I got to see my mom more. But it just actually felt good to be just to be back to where I started.
In your free agency process, one of the quotes I saw was that you wanted to feel valued as a person first. How did that group of women, but then really the franchise as a whole, like how did they make you feel that?
They made me feel like going through the whole free agency thing. There was like just like they sent me and my wife like this little I don't know what it is, but like when you open it up, it's a video saying like that right there means like sent the video saying like, Tosh, thank you, just saying like we really need you. It was like that right there means a lot right there. Like just thinking outside of the box, like you would never ever think a team would actually do something like that, thinking outside of the box. And that's one thing I actually like about them, and just how they doing any and everything to make sure I come to Indiana. Yeah. And like they did not stop at all until I signed with them. Yeah. And they main focus was just making sure that I'm happy first. Just making sure that I will be comfortable and that my family will be comfortable, that they're going to be coming with me. So, and that's one thing that I harped on a lot, just making sure that I'm happy, I'm comfortable, and that my family's going to be comfortable too.
Yeah, no, that is important. That's how you get to play your best. Yeah. Feeling that. Were you excited to play with Caitlin?
I was.
Yeah. So talk about that. Your first impressions of her?
My first impression of her when I first seen them, like, dang, like, this is what everybody's talking about right here. Yeah. This girl right here. Just getting to know Caitlin more and stuff like that. Like, she reminds me of a little sister. Like, and like, cause she's only 22 years old. Like, she reminds me of a little sister that I could put on my wing and just guide her and just be that vet for her and just let her know, like, you're not alone with this. I got your back, like, no matter what, like, cause we know you got a lot of stuff on your shoulders right now. Like, let me take some of that off your shoulder for you. Like, you don't got to do everything on your own.
Okay. So you competed against her, but now you're her teammate. So I'm curious, like, what are you learning now that you're getting, for lack of a better, a courtside seat to what she does shoulder and what she does experience, but also her as a basketball player?
She experienced a lot because she like everybody know that she can shoot the heck out the ball and she could pass, but just letting her know that you don't have to do everything like you have to do in Iowa. Like you have great teammates and phenomenal players around you that could take that weight off your shoulder. You don't have to do everything. Like we expect you to knock down those clutch shots. Like that's what we expect you to do. But like overall, like you don't have to do everything. Like you don't like let us give us some of your pressure too. Like so you don't have to do too much and overwork yourself.
Yeah. Well, we're recording this on, today is June 23rd. So as of today, we're about give or take a third of the way through the season, which is crazy, third of the way. You're currently averaging 11.5 points, 5.5 rebounds. You guys are 6 and 7. So, a lot of expectations coming into the season, but you've also had a lot of injuries. People in and out of the roster is never easy, especially with a new team, new roster, all that. How would you describe this season so far for you, for the Indiana Fever?
We're still learning each other. A lot of people never played with, coached been coached with Steph. So a lot of players, we never played with each other. This is our first time playing with each other. So like we still learning what we like to do on the court. But overall, I feel like we actually getting it all together. Like it's gonna like, you know, we 6 and 7, but still like you seen what we could capable of doing in some of these games that we won and some of the games that we lost too. So but still a work in progress though, but we just scratching the surface still. We still climbing.
How do you guys block out all the chatter that happens like outside of the locker room? How do you keep that out of the locker room?
We just focus on what we need to focus on inside the locker room. Like we let our team handle what's going on outside the locker room, but our main focus just focusing on what's going on inside the locker room that we can control and stuff. Cause we can't control what other people do outside of the locker room. So our main focus just making sure that we stay together in this locker room. Okay.
All right. So, you know, we've kind of talked through your whole career, and I think one of my favorite parts is it is unique in a sense. It is unique in a sense. Like you have what I would call elite accolades. We've talked a lot about them throughout the course. Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time champ, All-Star. But you did take these like incremental steps, like each stop, like each team you played on, you learned something new, you gained something, some of it through adversity, some of it through injury, some of it through championships. And slowly but surely, you got better every year. Since you have had success and you're on a team now of just younger players, do you think that the only way to learn some of the things that you've learned in your career is through experience? Or do you think there are actual words that you can share with them to help speed up that process?
I'll say through experience, and I'll say both. Okay. Experience and also using my voice to let them know like this is what I've been through and you kind of going through the same thing, so I understand what you're going through. So, but like just put one foot in front of the other and just take your time, don't rush. Like if you rush, it ain't gonna get done how you want it to get done. So just
be patient.
Yeah, and be patient. Patient is the main thing, and when it comes to anything, life or sports, whatever, it's just patience.
You do know that, you know, being called a leader is just code for you're getting old.
Okay, I guess that's me and Sid then.
That's what they say, like, oh, she's a veteran leader. Man, they just called me old.
I hear that every day. Well, not on the team though, but like.
No, I don't mean the team. Sorry, No, I don't mean the team. I don't mean the team. It's the outside voices. Yeah. And obviously I can say that because I was hella old when I finished. Okay, just a couple more before I let you go. I mean, I can't say it enough. You've had so much success in your career. I really need to know, and I need you to explain the swim goggles in the 2018 celebration locker room.
Goggles?
What was up with the swim goggles? You said you had us, and then you showed up.
I couldn't find like the goggles that Stewie had on, the Red Bull. I couldn't find under them, so I went to the closest Walmart or Target I tried to find some goggles. Everybody was like, "Well, we have these right here." I said, "Well, I take them.
That'll do.
That would do." So,
they got the job done.
Exactly, they got the job done. So nobody eye wasn't burning. Nobody wasn't complaining about I need water in my eye. So,
oh my God, honestly, winning a WNBA championship and wearing, 5-year-old swim goggles to celebrate, I don't know which one I value more. Which memory is more important to me? The swim goggles was so funny.
It was funny.
It was so funny. But the best part was you texted us. Do you remember that?
I did. I texted you guys saying, I got goggles.
We're good, guys. We got the goggles. Okay. In a more serious note, you've played on a lot of teams. Like, why is Seattle your favorite? No, I'm just kidding. No, seriously, last question. I like to ask all my guests this, like, what does success look like for you this year? And then second, what does success look like for the Indiana Fever this year?
For me, I feel like just getting better. I feel like that's the success for me, is getting better and just keep elevating my game. Mm-hmm. That's for me. But for Indiana, just finishing strong, during the regular season, and then we can focus on what comes next after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. All right, Tosh, you survived.
Thank
How
you,
was it?
It was good.
Yeah, it was fun chatting with you, man.
Fun.
I had a good time. You've had a hell of a career. All right, I finally got to the bottom of it. we know what happened with the 2018 swim goggles. I'm really glad we figured that out. No, I'm just kidding. That was really fun talking to Tosh. I really hadn't sat down with her probably since I played with her. So it was really interesting for me to hear the story of her career, the little tidbits she learned along the way, like be patient. Shout out to Mika Catchings. She's obviously carried that with her throughout her entire career. And also how every player's success looks different. A lot of times you hear about players that, have it early and then keep it, that find it. And I think for Tosh, it was just every day, every season, every year, figuring things out, adding something, and then really just staying ready. She talked about staying ready a lot because you never know when that opportunity is going to come calling. And for Tosh, she took advantage of pretty much every opportunity thrown her way. Another thing that I really enjoyed talking to Tosh about was just how what she does, the way she fits in with all of these great teams, it's really a skill. And it actually reminds me of TJ McConnell's interview where he talks about playing hard being a skill. I mean, I know it sounds crazy to think that playing hard is a skill, but to play hard, A, is not easy. B, to play hard consistently, all the time, every game, that's when the skill part of it kicks in. That's when you have to work at it. You can't just show up one day and say, oh, I'm gonna play hard today. It's something you have had to have been doing for a really long time. And that's really every skill. And I think at times, it can get taken for granted. So it was great to hear from Natasha and hear her point of view, and I hope you enjoyed it. This episode is a co-production of Together and Vox Media. Our producers are Tommy Alter, Jason Gallagher, Richie Bozick, Harry Krinsky, and Jess Clarendon. Special thanks to Ramon Downpour.